Hey guys, 6 News Sports Director Curtis Quillen at Darrell K. Royal Texas Memorial Stadium in Austin, where on Black Friday, the Texas Longhorns ended Baylor's regular season 38-27, a Longhorn win to keep it in the hunt for a Big 12 title game appearance, depending on the outcome of Saturday's game in the Sunflower Showdown. It was a disappointing end to what's been a frustrating season for the Bears. Here's what the Bears had to say after the loss.
Hey Bryson, why were y'all able to get such a good pass rush today?
It's just something that we worked on all week. It was an emphasis that we wanted to get pressure on the quarterback to make him throw the ball so we can get our DBs active. And throughout the game, I think we got pressure on them, but it's just a success on stopping the run and stuff like that kind of beat us down a little bit.
How big was that scoop and score? I mean, that was a pretty nice play.
Yeah, it was a momentum changer, and I wish we could have capitalized on it, but it definitely did give us a little motivation to go in and for offense to come out there. So that's what we set out to do.
Bryson, it seemed like you guys were so good in close games last year. It's been almost the complete opposite for a lot of these games this year. What's been different?
The thing that we've been working on is just finishing strong, and I think this team is we have a lot of talent and we work hard, but just the understanding that we got to finish and play all 4 quarters is something that's major. So it hurts. It's definitely a challenge for us. We're given another opportunity, so we'll be able to work on that.
I guess y'all obviously knew Bijan is going to get the ball a lot on that fourth quarter drive. Why is he so tough to stop?
I think they were just, I give credit to them, they were hitting on all cylinders as far as their offensive line, and just Bijan was making great reads and cuts. So, kudos to him and that and their efforts. But it's something that we struggle with just stopping the run and playing our gaps and playing 2 gaps. We didn't get to play 2 gaps and stop the run and push them back. So that hurt us a little bit, and it made the outcome what it is today.
Bryson, seems like he's real good too, just keeping his feet, like, he's running through. Like, it looks like he stopped and then he just keeps going.
Yeah, you just want to, in situations like that, you want to play 2 gaps, and you want to be able to get on them, get squared up, and push them back, and get everybody else to the party. So that's something that has to happen, and I wish we could have executed that. But
did you feel like you did that though in the first half? He didn't do much. I know he didn't get a lot of carries, but he didn't do much against you on the first half.
Yeah, first half we came out, and I think that was one of our strengths. Second half, which is part of why we got to start finishing strong. Defense, it's just situational. Things happen, but they came out wanting to play and compete, so we had to bring it, and I don't think we brought it enough that we should. But kudos to him and playing with his shoulders forward.
You'll have a little time off now before the bowl game. Everybody always wants to finish the season with a win. I mean, how important is that to whatever bowl you go to?
It's definitely important that our leaders, we stay together and we keep this team tight. I think we have a special team, and we got young guys that can really play, and we got older guys that can play. But we got to all put that together, and it's long overdue for people to see what we're really about. And I think that once we step back and we get to practicing that we can just go back to the fundamentals of what our culture is and our standards are, and just get better as a unit.
What is this month off? Is it almost like another camp for you guys as far as practice, or what is the structure like?
So far, I don't know the schedule as of now, but I would assume that we would practice 2 weeks before the bowl game. But it'll be semi probably the camp. I don't know the plans, but I would assume that once that we all get together and we talk about it and coach talks about it, it'll probably be similar to that, just practices and getting out there and doing what we do, similar to fall camp. Yeah.
Bryson, you guys are sitting there at 6-3, had a chance to go to the Big 12 championship game. How tough has this been to see these 3 losses?
Yeah,
in such good shape.
Yes, sir. It hurts. It hurts. I'm hurting for everybody in there, just because of the work that we put in. So it's a tough loss, and we came into this game all the way up to the end thinking we were going to win. So it's just kick in the face, and it hurts. But we got to look at it as life sucks sometimes, and we got to just get back and get over that adversity and that hurdle. Yeah.
Bryson, it seemed like Al played a big game. I think he may have had a couple of good games. Talk about what he was able to do here late, I guess.
Yeah, just with his position, we want to get him able to come in and get pressure on the quarterback, and it's critical on passing downs that he can play in those hook drops and stuff like that. But he's definitely been doing really good at fitting his gaps and playing his game of football. But you know, we want to play assignment football, but at the same time make plays. So I think that he can do that, and we need more of that on our team. Just need a bigger emphasis on it. So just do your job, don't stress about it, but go make plays as well.
Thank you, guys. Okay.
Thanks, Bryce.
Thank y'all.
Appreciate it.
Good to see you guys. You know, feel for the team in there. A lot of effort and a lot of emotion. You know, credit to Texas for their play, especially there in the second half. Was impressed by them, but just disappointed and frustrated, and just our finish. Going into the game, talked about the importance of starting fast, and there's been games where we have not done that, and here lately we've been able to do that, and I thought we did that today, and then made a big emphasis on playing through adversity, and so getting into fights, so to speak, and taking punches so that we can land a punch of our own, and if that takes getting off the mat to do that, then pick yourself up and get off the mat and throw some more punches. And I thought in the second quarter and early in the third, we were we came back to grab a lead there. What was that, in the third quarter? And I thought we were playing through adversity. Those were the instances. And the last thing we talked about was finishing strong, and that is, of course, what we did not do. And so I think that has held us back here these last two games particularly. And I think there's a lot to be desired there, just in terms of the energy, but also the execution of it. And so we'll take a couple days to kind of reset. I think it's been a tough couple weeks, and so we'll come on back and really work to get that right for this last game that we have. And I think there's so much to be left to be desired with this team, and not giving up on it in any way. Take any questions you guys got.
Dave, you mentioned the need to finish strong. How do you do that? How do you get that across? How does that come through?
No, I appreciate that. I think it's a mindset, and then it's you know it when you have it, because there's an energy, there's a look in the eye when you got that. And it comes from a confidence, and it comes from a trust, and it comes from a belief, And so I think we've had instances of that throughout this year, where we've been able to finish, if it's an Oklahoma game or Iowa State game and that, but we've got to be able to be consistent with it, and we just have not. And it's been, if we got 11 guys, there's 9 that are on it and 2 that ain't, or 10 that are on it and 1 that ain't, and so that's the battle we have right now.
In terms of overcoming adversity and that kind of thing, sometimes is it just getting out of your own way? I mean, because not to take anything away from Texas, but sometimes y'all were your own worst enemy.
Yes, and I think a lot of that is, I appreciate the question. I think a lot of that is the trust in your teammates, trust in kind of the scheme and the design and the call and kind of the work we put in, and just all of it to kind of do your 1/11th and not try to do the team's 1/2 or whatever it is. And so I think the pressing and everything that you're alluding to happens when pressure kind of seeps in and creates abnormal behavior. And I think offensively, for sure, that showed up. Defensively, some of those big gaps or those big runs at the end, were the same thing. A guy that was outside playing inside, or vice versa.
Coach, how much do you use this month between the bowl game to work with some of the younger guys and almost use it like a camp period? And how much is it just normal practice, getting ready for a game?
No, that's a good question. I think a lot of it's going to be working to kind of reset, just off these last couple, games that we've had. They've just been tough games. So the emotions, in the locker room right now are pretty strong. And so I think the ability to have a little bit of time off from all of it and to kind of get the appetite back to kind of go again and put yourself out there and all that, I think is way important. And then I think once we do that, I think that's both players and staff. And then I think once we do that, then it's the ability to kind of focusing on these things that we're bringing up, because for sure they're going to come up in this bowl game. And so we'd love to be at our best in this game. And so that'll be a focus. But then I think the opportunity to get our young players reps and make it competitive and kind of build for the future is also part of it. So I feel like we can do both.
Coach, on those final 2 touchdown drives for Texas, they didn't throw the ball once.
Mm-hmm.
What caused you guys to just not be able to stop the run, even if you knew it was coming?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I think the pressing, I think the trying to make a play when it's not your play, I think, oh, here we go again. I think all of those things.
Dave, how much momentum did y'all have? I mean, it didn't seem like it carried over, but there at the end of the half, the way that y'all were playing, took the lead, how much momentum did you carry into the half?
I thought at halftime it was, I thought there was a lot of confidence, but it was measured confidence, though. I thought it was, I thought it was a calculating feel. Guys were talking the truth and were kind of, speaking honestly about, the thing to do or what to stay away from and what's working and what's not. And so appreciative of that. I thought that coming out of it, I felt like we were in good headspace. But I have to believe that fighting through some of that adversity in that early third, and then getting to where it really mattered, we were clearly not at our best. And so that's something that we got to continue to work on.
You brought up emotions a lot. Has the mood shifted in the locker room in the last 3 weeks since that OU win to now?
Well, frustration is there. Disappointment's there. I think there's winning. You don't feel those things, and I think winning at times can cover up things. Or I think losing just opens up everything. And so every wound is kind of fully visible and fully open. And so our ability to kind of run into that, man, and not pretend like we ain't seeing it and not address it and all that thing, I think is the task we've had these last couple of weeks, and so it goes on.
Dave, I don't think y'all had a penalty until that goal line play that they had where what we called disconcerting signals or something like that. Did you like what you saw from that standpoint in terms of the way y'all were able to just pretty much play a clean game?
Yeah, I think there's, that's one of possibly a few where it's, instances where it's one step forward in one area and then 2 steps back in another, and so I think, the fight with the team is to all collectively, take a couple steps forward, and so one more opportunity for that, to try to get that done.
Thank you all.
All right, thank you guys.
As for what's next for Baylor, bowl bids are announced on December 4th.